Matched up with Davis. Oh, crossover, pull up, cooked him in 4K. Oh my! Over to Reed, finding Edwards, driving. Oh, get out the way! That is nasty.
Opportunities for Cat to expand his offensive game with that three-point shot, especially in transition.
And Edwards, the explosion to the rim. Laser pass, McDaniels, no. Oh, goodness! Climbs the ladder to the rim, escalator style.
Here in the Twin Cities, look at the moves by Edwards.
Swashbuckling
and slamming. Sometimes you just got to make it up as you go. Edwards right here, you know what? The shot's not there. Let me just throw it off the rim and finish it myself.
Edwards can't hit the second. Pacers have a chance. Up ahead, Neesmith. Blocked! Edwards getting up!
Saw him with the lane. I knew he was going for the layup, and I was just like, man, I'm finna go get this.
And only had one shot attempt in that first half. Another turnover for Utah. Edwards gets it back and threw it down!
I ain't never jumped that high in my life.
What's good, YouTube, man? It's your boy Swag back at it again with another bang. And today I'm finally going to be dropping my Anthony Edwards Ant-Man guard build. If you guys haven't been watching the NBA playoffs, he's been going absolutely crazy recently, so I figured now is the best time to showcase this build. Now don't forget to hit that sub button, hit that like button, and turn notifications on if you haven't already. But without further ado, man, let's get straight to the build. As we head to the builder, obviously, since this is an Anthony Edwards build, I put his name, made him right-handed, and his jersey number 5, but you guys can do whatever you want. Now, I know Anthony Edwards is considered a shooting guard in the NBA, but this is a build I made for running PG and 5v5, whether that's rec or pro-am, so we're gonna go with the PG position. Now, for height, although you get more attributes on the shorter builds like 6'2 and 6'3, we're actually going to go with the height 6'4. Not only is Anthony Edwards actually listed at 6'4, but 6'4 is actually the only height you can be to get the exact attributes we're going to want. As you can see, at 6'4, we're able to get that 93 dunk, which is a requirement for gold posterizer, while still also getting that 98.3, which gives us that legend set shot specialist. If we look at the height of like 6'3, with the 98.3, we're only able to get a 91 driving dunk, which we lose out on the posterizer badge. And again, with the 6'2, although you get technically more attributes, you can have a 99.3, but then the dunk is only an 89. So in order to get the 93 dunk, the 98.3, and have access to all the best dribble moves, which are height capped at 6'4 or under, 6'4 is absolutely the best height for this type of build. Moving on to weight, we're going to go with the minimum weight of 175 pounds. We need to be low weight on a 6'4 in order to get that 91 speed with ball for that Hall of Fame lightning launch, which is going to help you a lot with exploding quicker off the dribble. And then for the wingspan, we're going to go with that 6'5 wingspan because, like I mentioned before, that allows us to get the 93 dunk with the 98.3. Moving on to finishing, like I mentioned before, we're going to max out our driving dunk to a 93. Now this rating with an 80 vertical gives us that gold posterizer badge, as well as that Hall of Fame aerial wizard. Now when you think of Anthony Edwards, the first thing that comes to mind usually is his crazy athleticism and the crazy dunks he's able to get through contact. And with this build, you can do just that. As you guys saw in the intro and as you're seeing now in all these clips that I'm showing, the gold posterizer and Hall of Fame aerial wizard allows you to dunk on pretty much anybody, whether you're attacking the basket yourself off the dribble or receiving an alley-oop pass from a teammate, or even crashing the board off a teammate's miss and getting a putback. This build is elite at dunking the ball, and you would definitely have fun doing so. Not only are you a monster at dunking the ball, but as we raise our strength on the build to 60, you can see that we unlock that bronze physical finisher, which helps with finishing strong layups through contact. Now, it's not the most overpowered badge, and you do only get it on bronze, but with our main focus being to dunk the ball over everybody, it's nice to have physical finisher for the few times that you do get a layup animation. And I know I mentioned it quickly before, and I kind of focused more on the gold posterizer, showing you guys all the contact dunk clips, but the Hall of Fame aerial wizard is truly glitchy and going for putbacks and receiving lobs, and this year's 2K is actually really good and hard to stop. As you can see from the clips, I've gotten so many putback dunks on this build, and being able to get those second chance points can really be the deciding factor in some games. Lastly, for the finishing, we're going to go with at least 40 standing dunk for the standing dunk package. It ends up being a little higher by the time we're done with the build, but I'll explain that by the end when we reach the end. Now moving to the shooting, we're going to go with a 93 3-pointer and use 5 of our cap breakers to get it to a 98 for that legend set shot. Now, like I mentioned before, when you think of Anthony Edwards, you think of crazy dunks and slashing to the basket. But believe it or not, Anthony Edwards actually led the entire NBA in 3-pointers made for this season with 320, even surpassing the greatest shooter of all time, Stephen Curry. So I wanted to give my Anthony Edwards build as high as 3 as possible while still maintaining that elite slashing and dunking ability. And as you can see in the clips, the build does not disappoint from 3-man. Being able to shoot from limitless, can shoot while being contested, can shoot while falling to the ground. It does not matter. With the legend set shot and every other shooting badge being on Hall of Fame, the shot and the ability to green and shoot, it's super consistent. If you guys are wondering on the shot that I use, here it is right now on the screen. Patrick Mills base with Stephen Curry and Oscar Robertson releases. Now this is my most recent jump shot and my favorite to use. However, if you're struggling to shoot with the patty based jump shot, you can also try this KPJ jump shot that I used in some of the shooting clips that I've been showing. The KPJ shot is much easier to rhythm shoot with, which is what I shoot, I rhythm shoot, but tends to get contested easier, which is why I switched from KPJ to patty. It is harder to time with the patty, but if you can get it down packed, you will be lethal from 3. Moving on to mid-range, we're going to raise it to an 85. Now, this doesn't give us a specific badge or anything, but 2K Labs did a test and concluded that 85 rating is where there's a 100% green window for mid-range shots. Now, as a build with 98 3 and 93 dunk, there's not that many times you're gonna attempt a midi shot, but it's nice to have the 85 for the few times that you do. And because this is a Pro-Am and Rec 5v5 build, we went with 99 free throw to be knocked down from the line. Moving on to the playmaking, we're going to go with 90 ball handle and use 5 more of our cap breakers to get it to a 95. And also we're going to go with 89 speed with ball and use 2 cap breakers to get it to a 91 for that Hall of Fame lightning launch. Now going from 90 to 95 ball handle does unlock a lot of badges, but the main reason we want 95 is for that Steve Francis dribble move. As you can see, the requirement is 95, and this move combined with all our other dribble moves I have equipped are hands down the best moves in the game for guards to get open, whether you're using it on the ISO to attack the basket for a dunk or utilizing screens and left righting for a 3. You can create all the space you need to get a bucket on this build. Another thing that I really like to do that helps even more is utilizing your tier 1 max badge perk to upgrade your Hall of Fame lightning launch to legend lightning launch. This would allow you to move and burst even faster, which makes getting open even easier. So the benefits that the 6'2s and the smaller guards have of getting that higher speed with ball and getting the legend lightning launch, you're still able to get legend lightning launch on this build utilizing the tier 1 max badge perk while still having the elite finishing. Now, Steve Francis is the best, like I said before, but if you don't have the luxury of having so many cap breakers like I do, every other dribble move that I have equipped only requires a 92 rating. The main ones being the De'Aaron Fox crossover, which I used to get to the basket easily for the dunk, the Curry escape, which I used to 3-hunt and crab my defenders, and then the Zach LaVine step back for when the defender thinks I'm attacking the rim and I snatch it back for a 3. With the Sigs that I showed you guys, combined with all the legend and Hall of playmaking badges you have on this build, you'll be impossible to guard. And don't worry, if you continue watching, I will also be showing different versions of the build for people who have maybe only 5 cap breakers or only 10. For this build specifically, I'm going to show you with 12 because this is how many cap breakers I had during the build. When I made the build, I had 12 cap breakers, but I will also show you guys this build with 5 cap breakers and this build with only 10 cap breakers. Now, it wouldn't be a good PG build if we didn't have pass accuracy, which is why we're going to raise it to an 85. Now, 85 in specific gives us that bronze bailout, which is really good for passing out of shots if you feel like it's going to be contested, or you're attacking the basket and you bail out of a dunk because the defense rotated. Not only that, but having the high pass rating in general just makes your passes so much faster, which leads to your teammates being able to shoot wide open shots. Also, on this build, you can utilize your tier 2 badge perk and raise your dimer from gold to half to help your teammates shoot even more. Moving on to defense, we're going to go with an 85 steal for that gold interceptor. Now, as a PG in 5v5, you're normally guarding the lock in the corner who tends to backdoor cut for dunks. But with this 85 steal, you can hawk every passing lane and completely shut down your opponents from passing around you. As you can see in the clips, whether it's a backdoor pass or a pass to the hash or a pass up the court, having this 85 steal with that gold interceptor allows you to play a lot of these passing lanes, which then lead to easy fast breaks for you and your team. Moving on to perimeter, we're going to go with a 74 for all 3 of the perimeter badges on bronze. Now, I know Anthony Edwards is a two-way player, but because this is a PG build for 5v5 and we're mostly going to be guarding the corner, I couldn't afford to get like super high perimeter, having everything else on this build with the high dunking and high shooting. But as you can see in the clips, man, only having the 74 perim and even having a short wingspan of 6'5", you can still get really good contests on this build and force a lot of misses. Moving on to block, we're going to raise it to a 60 and keep our interior defense at a 45. Now, this may seem low, but you'll be surprised how effective and how many stops you can actually get in the paint with these ratings. Whether you're physically getting the block in the paint or just contesting and forcing a miss, you can most definitely still get a lot of stops on this build. Another thing I really like about having blocks on guard is the better jumps you get on the perimeter. As you can see, because our block is high, we're able to get really good jump animations when contesting jump shots, which a lot of the times, as you can see, leads to us getting the block. I always recommend having block on your guard builds, and this is the reason. You never know when you, as a PG, making a defensive play like this can win your team the game. Moving on to physicals, we're going to go with an 85 speed and a 77 agility. These ratings in specific gives us that gold slippery off ball, which is really nice for getting open on dexes and cuts to the basket. Also, speed in general is just nice to have for defense and rotating. And with that, as you can see, we're already a 98 overall, and not much more we can do besides go back to our standing dunk and raise it to a 59. Now, you don't get any new crazy standing dunk packages, but you're still able to rise up and get really good standing dunks on this build. And like I mentioned before, I made this build a couple seasons ago when I only had 12 cap breakers, and with all the new cap breakers I've gotten from the season pass and even the one I'm going to get this new season 7 at level 40, I've been adding them all to my speed to have an 89 speed, which is really nice. Now, moving on to takeovers, there's only really 2 takeovers that I think are really good on a build like this, and it really depends on your play style. One is the satellite, which allows you to shoot from damn near half court, and if you're a guard who really likes to 3 hunt and shoot threes, this might be the best option for you. The other takeover I like is flash. This gives you the blur ability, which literally allows you to run through defenders to the basket, which gets you easy dunks. If you're more of a slasher and you want to utilize the 93 dunk and get the contact dunks, this blur takeover is better for that type of style. But there you guys have it, man, my exact Anthony Edwards Ant-Man guard build that you guys have seen me use on stream and in one of my Prime videos, actually, where I took this build to the comp Prime with Black Market. Now, I know a lot of you guys don't have the benefit of having all the cap breakers in the game like I do, so I'm going to quickly show you guys the best way to make this build with 0 cap breakers if you're new to the game, not starter 3, haven't hit level 40 once, you have no cap breakers. If you have 5 cap breakers, and even if you have 10 cap breakers, I'll show you guys the best version of this Ant-Man build for all those versions. So if you have 0 cap breakers and you want a build like my Anthony Edwards build, here's the best that I found. The height and weight will remain the same. However, instead of going 6'5" wingspan, we're actually going to go with 6'6". Now, the reason being is because we don't have any cap breakers, so we can't afford to get as high of a 3. So it's better to have the longer arms if we're not getting the 98 3. As you see with this version, we still get the 93 dunk with the gold posterizer and Hall of Fame aerial, so you'll be able to finish around the rim the same way, the same as my build that I showed. And although we lowered the 3, it's still a 96, so we still have every shooting badge on Hall of Fame. The only badge that we miss out on that we had before is the Legend Set Shot Specialist. Now, moving on to the playmaking, we do lose out on the 95 ball handle for that Steve Francis dribble move, which is the best in the game. But like I mentioned earlier, all my other dribble moves that I had equipped and that I use only require a 92. So you'll definitely still be able to combo up and get yourself open with only having the 92. And we still have the 91 speed with ball for that Hall of Fame lightning launch. And not as good as passing as before, but we still get 78 at least for that bronze versatile visionary. Now, as we get to the defense is where the lack of cap breakers really hurt us. As you can see, if we want the elite dunking, elite shooting, and elite playmaking, we have barely any defense. We do get the 60 steal for bronze interceptor, which can allow you to get the occasional lane steal, but it really isn't the best. We get low perim, no interior, and only a 50 block. Again though, as a PG who's guarding the corner on defense, it's not really the end of the world having really low defense. You'll just have to rely on your teammates a little bit more on the defensive end. Now, if you have 5 cap breakers, whether that's because you're starter 3 or because you've hit level 40 of the season pass 5 times, this is the best 5 cap breaker version of the Ant-Man build that I lapped up. Again, height and weight remain the same, and we're actually going back to the 6'5" wingspan, because now that we have some cap breakers to work with, we can actually afford to get the higher 3 again. As you can see in the build, we still have the 93 dunk, and as we go to the 3, we have it at a 94, and we're going to add 4 of our 5 cap breakers here to get it from a 94 to a 98. We also have much higher free throw now compared to the 0 cap breaker version. And moving on to the playmaking, the pass act remains the same at 78, and the speed with ball the same as well at 91 for that Hall of Fame lightning launch. But now we have a 94 ball handle, which we're going to use our last cap breaker to get it from a 94 to a 95 for the extra badges, and obviously for that Steve Francis dribble move. So just by having 5 cap breakers, you're able to get the 98 3 again and the 95 ball handle while still having the 93 dunk. And as we move to the defense, it's still not as good as the original build, but now that we have 5 cap breakers, we're able to get 73 steal for silver interceptor, which is a lot better than the 60. We also have 58 perimeter for off-ball pest on bronze, and a maxed out block with a 45 interior, which will definitely help us get stops in the paint. And then lastly, the physicals remain the same as the previous build, as we're not able to afford any strength or extra speed. But as you can see again, man, just by having the 5 cap breakers, we're able to make the build so much more better. Last but not least, if you have 10 cap breakers and want the best optimized Ant-Man build, I got y'all right now, man. Same template as before, 6'4", lowest weight, and 6'5" wingspan. And as we head to the attributes, we obviously keep the 93 dunk, but now we're gonna go 93 3 and use 5 cap breakers to get it to a 98, as well as put our ball handle to a 90 and using our last remaining 5 to get it to a 95. Saving all these attributes by utilizing the 10 cap breakers this way allows us to now get things like 82 pass act for gold dimer, 99 free throw, and the best part, as we move to the defense, as you can see, we now have 85 steal for gold interceptor, 74 perimeter for all badges on bronze, high block, high interior, and we also have the 60 strength again for that physical finisher and physical handles on bronze. Cap breakers can truly elevate your build to the next level, as you can see. But whether you have 15, 10, 5, or even 0 cap breakers, I hope I was able to provide a good build that you guys can make and have fun on. And there you guys have it, man. That concludes the video for my exact Anthony Edwards build, as well as versions with 10, 5, and even 0 cap breakers. If you guys enjoyed the video and liked the build, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that sub button, and turn noties on to not miss out on any videos or live streams. If you guys want to see this build in action in comp pro versus the top players, that's the video on the screen right now. But until next time, man, I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. God bless. Peace.